Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. And we are a little over 2 weeks away from the release of the new Ghost concert film, Too Big to Rig, which we just touched on everything we know about the film a couple videos ago. But today, we will be going over the very first spoiler-free review to the film, and I think all of us are going to be leaving the theaters with a bittersweet feeling, but mostly very satisfied. So sit back and relax as we fully dive into our very first review of what could be our last piece of Ghost content for the foreseeable future, Too Big to Rig. This review comes our way courtesy of Caitlin Richardson from audiofix.com, so a huge thank you for sharing this review with us. Ghost is set to release their new movie, Too Big to Rig, in August, which documents the Mexican dates of their Skeletor World Tour. I was lucky enough to screen the movie early and relive the magic of the Skeletor World Tour all over again. Here is what you need to know in a spoiler-free review. Fans are eagerly awaiting the chance to re-enter the wonderful world of Ghost with Too Big to Rig, which releases globally on August 26. However, fans located in Berlin, London, Mexico, Sydney, and Los Angeles can access an early screening on August 24th at selected theaters. This will be an event fans will not want to miss as the band enters a long-awaited hiatus. As the film begins, it really is instantly apparent that the intention here was for it to be viewed on IMAX screens. The audio is highly indicative of Dolby Atmos surround, instantly plunging viewers into a sea of cheering from eager fans awaiting at the Palacio de los Deportes in Mexico City, almost as if you yourself have been transported to the heart of Mexico in the midst of the crowd. Within the first few seconds, the emotions set in as you realize that you will either be about to re-witness a truly magical night that you saw live, or you will be viewing a phenomenon for the first time that will stay with you. The movie paces itself the same way the live rituals did, fast, fun, and spellbinding. The ghouls and ghoulettes instantly draw gasps as they appear, and the excitement really builds before we see frontman Papa 5 Perpetua begin the show with the opening song. It is so good to see them all again. One of the main terrific choices was using super 16mm film to really hone in on the nostalgic vibe. Not only nostalgic for the concerts of the glam rock era in the 70s and 80s, but also for the nostalgia from the 2025-2026 Skeletor that brought joy to so many. There is a very smooth flow to the film itself, which was shot on Kodak stock, and the grain really adds atmosphere that perfectly complements the staging and the band, especially in close-up shots. Speaking of staging, one thing mentioned before the movie's release was that frontman Tobias Forge wanted to draw attention to and credit just how huge this show was, to put on every night in the various cities they performed in. Some cutbacks give fans insight into how hard the crew worked. If you are especially into the behind-the-scenes stage management, it is fascinating to watch and learn about. There are some wild facts in there that really hit home about how hard everyone involved worked to make the ritual as good as it could be for us fans so that we could have the best night possible. There is also a strong fan focus throughout. Everything that fans will want to see from Papa 5 Perpetua, they are sure to get. From the sassy one-liners, the signature dance moves, and insane vocal talents, to the overall contagious energy he exudes. There is a lot for fans to soak up and enjoy. The fans will be really happy with the overall result and the screen time Papa 5 has. However, there is only one thing I found to be a small shame in the finished movie, which may be more so rather selfish of me. There is one song that was cut from the final product that I feel fans, as well as myself, would have really been looking forward to hearing again in the movie. I am sure there were creative reasons behind it, and it was done to achieve the best result. Overall, it is bittersweet for fans to see Too Big to Rig, as it delivers on everything fans have grown to love about this band over the years, but there's also a sense of sadness as we see this chapter come to a close in an exquisite concert documentary. There are times to laugh, cry, smile, but most of all, to remember why we love ghosts as much as we do, and to carry their message forward. So that was the review, and honestly, there's a lot in there that I'm really excited to talk about. First of all, I really like the way they described the movie as feeling like you're actually being transported back into that crowd in Mexico City, because that's really what I want from a ghost concert film. Obviously, we're going to get the performances. We know the music is going to sound great. We know the production is going to look incredible. But what I really want is that feeling of actually being there. And from everything that's being described here, it sounds like they really succeeded at capturing that. The other thing that really stood out to me was the use of the Super 16mm and the Kodak film. We've known for a while that this movie was shot on 16mm, but hearing someone who's actually seen the finished product talk about how much that grain adds to the atmosphere is really encouraging. Because Ghost is a band that already has such a strong connection to that vintage, rock and roll aesthetic. So taking a massive modern concert production and shooting it on film almost makes it feel like we're watching some lost concert footage from decades ago, and I think that's going to make it age really well. I also really appreciate that they bring up the crew and the behind the scenes work that goes into these shows, because as fans, we see the finished product, we see Papa walking onto the stage, we see the ghouls, the lights, the pyro, all of these massive production elements, but we don't always think about just how much work has to happen behind the scenes to make that all look effortless. And that's something Tobias has actually talked about before, wanting people to appreciate just how enormous this production, especially on this tour, really was. So getting to see some of that in the movie sounds like a really nice addition, especially for people who are interested in that production side of the band. And then of course, there's Papa 5. I'm not surprised at all to hear that fans are going to be happy with how much screen time Papa gets. I mean, let's be honest, you can't make a movie documenting this era of Ghost and not give Papa 5 plenty of time to do what he does. The dancing, the personality, the ridiculous little moments, the vocals, it's all part of the experience. But probably the most interesting part of this entire review for me is the fact that there's apparently a song that was cut from the final movie. We don't know what that song is, and now obviously there could be a million reasons for why they cut it. Maybe it didn't fit the pacing, maybe they wanted to keep the movie at a certain runtime, or maybe it just didn't work, overall. But now I'm really curious what that song was. And finally, I think that bittersweet feeling that's talked about at the end is probably going to be unavoidable, because we're not just watching a Ghost concert, we're watching the final chapter of the Skeletor era. And knowing that Ghost is now entering this indefinite hiatus, there's going to be a different feeling attached to watching this than there would have been if this movie had come out in the middle of the tour. It's a snapshot of where Ghost was at this particular moment in time. So yeah, based on this review, I am even more excited to see Too Big to Rig myself, and I'm especially interested to see whether I have the same reaction to the things highlighted here, the 16mm footage, the atmosphere, the behind the scenes material, and just how well the movie captures what it was actually like to go to a Ghost show during the Skeletor. Because ultimately, that's what a great concert film should do. It should make the people who were there want to experience it all over again, and make the people who weren't able to be there feel like they were. And if Too Big to Rig can accomplish that, then I think Ghost may have something really special on their hands. Once again, thank you to Caitlin Richardson and AudioFix for this incredible review. But now I want to hear from you. What did you think about this review, and did it make you more excited about any particular aspects of the movie? And are there any of you lucky enough to attend any of the early fan screenings across those different cities on August 24th? Let us know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all of our upcoming videos. And for more on Ghost, take a look at the rest of the channel, because if you have Ghost, you have everything.
Last night